What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Voice of the Fans podcast. This is your man Cam. I'm down here in SoCal. I got my man Clevon up in the Northwest. How you doing, big guy?
Doing great, Big Cam. Can't wait to get this show started.
Man, thank you for making time to join us, fans. However you're listening to us, wherever you're listening to us, we appreciate you guys tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. Today, in this episode 133, April 7th, 2021, Cleveland. It's already April. Easter just passed. Is this year zooming by or what?
It's flying by, Cam. Can't wait till everything gets back to normal and just really enjoy it.
Yeah, a couple months they say they're going to have, and down here by June 15th, everything should be open, full fans in the stadiums. We talked to the Dodgers. Well, I was at Dodger Stadium today. They talk about between May and June 15th, May 1, June 15th, full fans should be in the stadium. Obviously, we got to wear the mask and still do our social distancing where and when we can. But full fans are going to be in the stands. That's going to be interesting, man. Life is coming back in a sense. Again, fans, this is the Voice of the Fans podcast. So just today's show, we're going to talk about NFL free agency. We're going to give a little bit of recap about that. We're talking about the NBA. We've got some NBA topics that we're going to hit on. NBA season week 14 that we're going to go through. And also, as each and every week, we give you a number segment. We kind of just test your mind with the numbers, see what numbers come to your mind or come to Cleveland's mind, I should say. And then we do this day in history. Always have a history lesson for you where we look back and kind of pay homage to things that happened before us, but give this day in history. Generally, it's sports history, but then we got some Black history involved in there and some life history involved in there as well. So stick and stay for that. I'm gonna do the NCAA bracket recap. I don't know how your brackets was, but NCAA brackets, man, probably busted all over the country. I don't know who won. Did you hear anybody win? Anybody have the perfect bracket this year, Cleveland?
No, absolutely not, Cam. That never ever happens. So no such thing as a perfect bracket.
Well, there you go. And we don't have one here to talk about. But however you're listening to us, wherever you're listening to us, we thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button on Voice of the Fans podcast. You can find me or you can send me a link or any message on Twitter. What's good? The letter in sports, singular. What's good in sport? Send me a message. Let me know what you want us to talk about. Let me know if you want to join the show. You got something to say. You can bring some value to the show. We'd love to have you on. We can debate topics with you every day, all day, if you really want to get down with us. Clevon, what's your Twitter handle?
It is at Clevy Wonder, and Instagram is Clevon Steele.
Okay, my Instagram, Voice Up Fan. So make sure you hit us up. And again, leave your comments, leave your feedback. All feedback is good feedback. If you got something to say, let's hear it. I want to thank you again for tuning in, and let's get started with our number segment, Clevon. Today, April 7th, 2021, week 133. How we do this, and we take the date today, April 7th. And when you think of 7, Clevon, who comes to your mind first, or who wore that number best?
Person that comes to mind first, Cam, is Michael Vick. Because he was so electrifying and so polarizing, he's the first person that comes to mind. Person that wore it best was John Elway. 5 Super Bowls, the 2 wins. So that's how I would go with that one.
Okay, fans, as I expect nothing less from Cleveland, just to overlook anybody who played in the Pacific Northwest, like Rashard Lewis. He didn't even give him any love. Or David Beckham. I mean, have you the international sport of all the land? Have you heard of David Beckham?
I have heard of David Beckham. He doesn't come to mind first, and I don't think he wore it the best.
So, okay, well that's fair. That is a question.
I have heard of him. Yes.
Okay, so number 33. Who wore that number best, Clevon, or who comes to your mind first?
Person that first comes to mind is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Person that wore it best is, ironically, the same person, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Really? Again, Clevon, I would expect nothing less than Clevon for overlooking Mr. Dan Dornick. That's the first person to come to my mind when I think of number 33. Do you remember Dr. Dan? Do you remember Dr. Dan?
The fullback could do it all. I mean, the first catching fullback in the NFL before it was even really fashionable. Yeah, he was doing it first, but he didn't really come to mind first per se. But no, I appreciate you giving him a shout out. 206 all the time, So For sure.
Kareem over Larry Bird?
Kareem over Larry Bird, yes.
For wearing the best? Okay.
For both of those, yes.
Okay, all right. So we got a lot of topics, man. We're gonna break this down in NBA or NFL topics, NBA topics, and then we got some general sport topics that we're gonna get to. But now we're gonna kick it off. We're kicking it off right now with Carlos Dunlap in his conversation with Russell. I don't know if it was Russell or Sierra or Russell. I'm not sure. But Carlos Dunlap said Russ says he's gonna be there. He ain't going nowhere. Is that what you're hearing up there in the 206? Does that put everything to bed? I mean, because he was looking at, he gave the team a list of players or teams that he would be interested in going to. Does this simmer things and put it all to bed, or what's your thoughts on that, Mr. Clevon?
Well, Cam, fortunately, I was able to hear the voicemails that were going back and forth between Carlos and Russell. And basically what Russell was saying was, hey, man, I know you heard a bunch of noise out about what's going on with me staying here, and Sierra don't want to be here, and look like Sierra gonna get her way because I'm gonna be here. Okay, if she want to go out and show out and do her thing and perform and sing and stuff, she can do that. But home base is gonna be right here in 206, and I'll be here for a minute, Carlos. So come on back here. And we started something. It was good. We was 12-4. We didn't quite get where we wanted to go, but hey, man, I'm gonna be here to finish this. So don't be worried about all that gossip being here and out there in the streets about, those, John and Sierra conversations, those, late night dinners or whatnot, trying to hash it out, man. We got the G4 the 6 times a year we asked for, and that's all we can ask. You know what I'm saying? So, keep cool. I'm going to be here. And so that was just, very reassuring for me to hear that from him, going back and forth like that. So,
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to hear what happens when it's October and Sierra says, okay, she's already used it 5 times and she got a couple more shows to do, whether it be in South Beach or Las Vegas or even the Northeast. It'll be interesting to see what happens to the G4 when she wants to reserve it for the 7th time, and what the response is from Snyder and Carol and the families that be.
Probably prorated out of the contract if that's what you want to do. We'll see what kind of flexibility is going on there, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, Cam. It's a little way too early to get into that right now. Let's wait till the Hawks are 7-2, 8-2, before we start with all that nonsense.
7-2. That's a little presumptuous, isn't it?
Is it?
I mean,
seems like the band's all back together. I mean, it wasn't that far apart last year. So
who's their cornerback? Who's their cornerbacks? Did they sign any cornerbacks? I don't recall.
Yes, they did. They signed Witherspoon a few weeks ago, and Richard Sherman is going to be in camp trying out in a couple weeks.
Oh, you're gonna make Richard Sherman try out now. that's
he knows it's open. He knows it's open.
Open competition.
He's been here before. He's been through all this. He knows about compete. He knows about how Pete wants you to compete. So he knows what he's coming into. It's fine.
Yeah. Let's see how that works out. Like you say, let's cross that bridge when we get to it. Clevon, just a side note, man. How many massages have you gotten in your lifetime? Where you're laying down on the table, you're in your skivvies, and they got the towel over you. How many, you put your face in the little hole where they got the tissue paper around, you're looking down. How many massages have you actually laid down and had in your lifetime?
Because I had hip replacement surgery and the pain was tremendous before I had it, I've actually probably had somewhere between 5 and 7 massages.
5 and 7 massages. Okay, yeah. Well, shit, I've had more than that, and I haven't had hip replacement. Shit. Okay. I'm telling you. Hey, I'm gonna give a shout out to somebody, and I need to hit them up for sponsorships. But there was a Guilt City app. Are you familiar with the Guilt City app?
Not at all.
Guilt City app. Well, they only had them in big cities, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Miami, where you can go on and buy packages. And I bought 6 massages I think it was 6 massages for $99, but a value price or face price was like $300 a massage. I got them just for $99. I got 6 of them. Went to this fancy office in Beverly Hills. All the physical therapy equipment. It was a physical therapist who was giving the massage. So it was all this physical therapy equipment, a luxurious room laid down, and there was poles going stretching across the ceiling. When I went in there, and I was looking like, what the hell? There are poles stretching across the ceiling. The lady was grabbing on the poles, got on my back, and started dancing on my back. And she's holding on to the pole. I was like, oh shit, this shit feels good. I had 6 of them. I used 3 of them in 1 month. And then, I was like, okay, you're getting a little crazy. And then within 3 months, all 6 were gone. So shit, it was absolutely those are some of the best 60 minutes that I've enjoyed in my lifetime. For real. Man, there's just so many Korean little shops around in LA, South Korean or Chinese massage shops that you can go to. I always get, again, side note fans, I always get a little, this might be TMI, but I think it's a funny story. When I lay down to get the head, shoulder, and the full body massage, they do the head, shoulder, and your feet, obviously. I mean, as soon as they touch my feet, I fall asleep, man. And I don't know what that is. They can not do anything for that 30 minutes, and I'll be sleeping. I wouldn't know the difference because I'm out. It's crazy. But I say that to say, I bring that up to say, so I probably had 50 massages, 60, somewhere in there, 50, 60, roughly. And that's just the last 10 years. I don't have 50 different masseuses that I'm working with.
Right.
And I would think if I had millions of dollars, I'm able to narrow this down a bit more efficiently, right? To where I'm bringing in, I have on coming on the road with me 2 or 3 masseuses at the most. But when I get back home, I know where I'm going for one specific masseuse. I know that off the rip. Like you have your restaurants you go to. When I come to Seattle, I gotta go to Ivers. I gotta stop at Ivers. I gotta go inside the bar. I gotta get the inside, sit down and have the happy hour at Ivers. I don't know if you've done that, Clevon, but when I lived there, I wasn't familiar with the happy hour. Happy hour at Ivers is off the chain.
I don't think I've ever done that, Cam, but being 206, man, thanks for pointing that out.
Gotta go inside. Ivers the clam chowder, the fried clams and the clam chowder outside? That's the goal. That's quick, but you got to go inside. Happy hour. Try it out.
Pier 57. I'm there.
Thank me later. Thank me later. So there's a couple stops. I mean, when I'm in when I'm home in Los Angeles, I want some tacos. There's a couple. I'll go to a taco truck. I know the taco truck right off of Manchester. Usually Manchester and Normandy. They're going to be a couple blocks off of Manchester and Normandy for some bomb tacos for $8. $8 with a drink. You kind of like restaurants. When you have a flavor for something, you want some tacos, you want some crab meat, you want some seafood. You know where you're going. I'm not going to 50 different restaurants or 50 different places just trying to figure it out. Especially you got this money, you got to zero it in. So Deshaun, what the hell's going on, big dog? I know this was a joke 2 weeks ago. You're supposed to be on your way to Miami. But with all these games going on, you played, man, all this rubbing and touching and extra attention that you're requesting from the masseuse, Deshaun. Bro, you're 25 years old. How do you have 50 masseuses that you're trying to play games with that you don't even know? Like if she's been with you, she's gonna come to the crib 14, 15, 20 times, and you spit in your game, and you thinking now she's warming up and it's about time to put it on her. Like, that's a different story. But if she just showing up for the first time, Deshaun, and you talking about rub over here, like, come on, bro. Like, some of this is where I want to say the argument is suspect. I'm questioning Deshaun's selection process. What you think?
Oh, his methodology is horrible, Cam. I mean, first of all, where are you going to try and find these people? DMing on Instagram? It's like
Apparently,
who
that's
told you
another
that was a good idea? And
that's
then you
another.
get these people in here, and you're acting like this is some type of weird porn movie. It's like, no, man. It's like that's not what they do.
That's a
I mean,
DMing
it's
on
like
Instagram.
it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, DMing on
At,
Instagram is
at
a
that
problem.
at that level, and you're making decisions like that, it's extremely disappointing and disheartening to see that happen over and over again. Because we're realizing how much just generational wealth and just talent that this individual has, and what a contribution he can make. I'm not trying to get on the soapbox, whatever, but to see it all kind of go away over just the way that you're going about doing whatever it is that you want to do is terrible. I mean, Big Boy taught us a long time ago, hey man, instead of just going to the strip club, why don't you just put a pole in your house? And then you call the strippers when you want to see a show. Isn't it way easier than all of that? You know what I'm saying? If you're into this type of, fantasy massage thing, we'll just find a couple that are cool with that and just, stay with those. But if you're just reaching out just to the general public and they're completely unassuming and not knowing, they're thinking, oh wow, okay, yeah, I have an appointment at 4 o'clock. Yeah, I can fit you in. Sure. Oh, I looked at your profile. Oh wow, you're an NFL quarterback. How great. Cool. Yeah. I would love to see if I can help you out. I'm sure you have all kinds of, ailments and, pains that maybe I can assist you with. They're not thinking it's the flip side of all that.
Right.
And when they get there and they're, shocked and astonished and, all that, well, hey man, slow it down, man. Turn it off. This is not what you were anticipating in for either one of you. So why continue on that process? And then why do it over and over and over again? It makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
Clearly, it's not the massage because your body is, you're a multi-million-dollar entity, right? So why would you just let just any old body just work on your body, right? You're not taking your Lamborghini down at just Joe's Auto Shop on the corner, man, because the sign looks cool on the outside. You're better than that, Deshaun.
I mean, as men, we all want a little strange from time to time. So I can't falter for that process or that thought process. But the selection process, he went. Apparently, he went on Instagram and hit the DMs. And what they're trying to get him on is he flew some in from Atlanta and then tried that move. That's where the trouble may be, is when he's flying him in from Atlanta or from Mississippi into Houston and then trying to do this. That is seen, that's sex trafficking. When he's doing that, it takes on a different connotation than him going to Joe's Body Shop and bringing somebody over from down the street. And come on, bro. It's Deshaun, you gotta be smarter than that, man. You have to be smarter than that, and more selective. I would think. I would think you would want to be more selective, and it's just the situation's blowing my mind. So he goes from most wanted person in South Florida to now one of the most hated persons in Houston or the NFL in general. And now Nike, I find this interesting that the language they use, Nike suspends endorsement. They didn't say they fired them or cut them. Suspends. We're going to put this on hold a little bit. But even that little gap in break, and that gap in time sends a bad message, Deshaun, because what happens now? Beats by Dre or Beats by Apple follow suit. So now you got your endorsements in question. So hopefully he's looking at this thing differently. Hopefully he's narrowing down his selection process. Hopefully some of the big homies talking to him about this. Somebody on the team is getting in his ear like, all right, Deshaun, now you call your one or two masseuse who is cool with you or who you've been trying to get at, and man, leave it at that and stop trying to ship them in, because that's a bad look. Agree, disagree? What you think? What you think?
No,
What do you think
I
about
think
Nike suspending the endorsements?
Oh, they did the absolute right thing in this climate, in this environment. It's just a bad look if you don't do that, especially being who Nike is. So, yeah, you have to do that. Yeah, that was a cool speech that you just talked about like 2 years ago. Like when this was really starting to get going, it's way past that. It is snowballed so far out of his control that just, hey, man, calm it down. Yeah, we're way past that. We're in the 20s now. You know what I'm saying? And there's just once you get in the 20s, bro, you're not cutting down 19 of these. You know what I'm saying? You're not cutting down 15 of these. You know what I'm saying? It's 22. And then once it starts getting past that and they start pulling, I mean, we're in the Cosby R. Kelly syndrome, man. There's just too many.
Yeah.
You can't come back. Nobody wants you. What city wants Deshaun Watson as their franchise quarterback at this point? Nobody. Yeah. He's not going to be able to go to Canada. Like, no, man. No. Unless some strange
he may be
happens,
he may be able to go to
no
Canada.
Way to hold all of this together, man.
He may be able to go to Canada, man. Nobody's paying no attention to CFL, man. Come on, Ricky Williams went to Canada, bro. Like months after.
I was just smoking weed.
Yeah, but at the time, I mean, at the time, nobody was accepting us smoking weed, and that's what we said. That he's just smoking weed. Like Dave wants that. I would have said if Dave wants his dumbass, if that's all he wanted to do, I'd have built a fucking hut back in the back of the training facility. Ricky will knock on the door at game time. When the bus leave for the game, we go knock on the door, Ricky. That's what I would have done for Ricky Williams back then, and that was 2009, 10, 11, and the NFL was like, no, you're banned, bro. You can't come back because you smoke too much. you smoke too much. So it's funny how things kind of cycle and change, right? Then the perception of now what weed is today versus what it was just 10 years ago. So yeah, Deshaun, man, I hope you got a good PR team. Hope you get your lawyer is worth the money you're paying them, because this is going to be a tough comeback for you, big bro. Somebody else, man, who has a tough road ahead of him is Teddy Bridgewater. Since his injury in Minnesota a couple years ago, he's being overlooked as the Saints overlooked him. We thought he played behind Drew Brees for a year and get another opportunity. Now we see the Carolina Panthers are looking over him because they draft Sam Darnold. So I want to talk about a couple of things, but is Teddy getting the raw deal from the Carolina Panthers by them just simply trading for, not drafting, but trading for Sam Darnold?
I don't think so, Cam. I mean, I thought he had a decent audition last year to kind of see what he could do in that system. They had some decent receivers. Unfortunately, Christian Jackson McCaffrey went down very early in the season, so they didn't have a lot of balance. But he was able to stay relatively healthy through the season. There was a few games that he missed, and he looked pretty good here and there. But he didn't look like anyone that was going to be able to take your franchise to the next level. And the New York Jets gave away Sam Darnold for pretty much pennies on the dollar. So why not try that experiment? Pretty much convinced that Teddy Bridgewater is not the guy going forward. So if someone's willing to give you an opportunity to take a look at someone that was a top 5 pick, I would do it.
So Teddy went last year 69% passing completion rating, 15 TDs, 11 interceptions. I mean, all he gets is 1 year. That's it. That's enough for you to say I'm going with Sam Darnold. Like, I mean, they didn't trade much for him. A 6th-round pick, I thought is hysterical. 2 and a 4, which, I mean, that's a 2 and a 4 from Carolina, who should be middle of the pack at best. So those are actually going to, the number 2 pick is actually be a decent pick. So out of the 3 draft picks, they got the number 6 is garbage. The 2 and the 4 is you have to be really good at drafting to do anything with the 6 and the 4. The number 2, you're probably going to be top 40 pick. So I thought that's hysterical that all they can get was for Sam Darnold, who they drafted number 3 just a few years ago. From that side of it, I thought the Jets got the raw deal. They just got fleeced, essentially robbed from the Carolina Panthers. But I just thought you give Teddy Bridgewater a season, 15 games, right? 15 games, 69%. What more do you want your quarterback to do? What do you want to have? You expecting to have 30 touchdowns? You mentioned once the star of the team goes down, like you're kind of strapped for cash. You're strapped at what you can do. Who's named the wide receiver for the Cardinals or the Carolina Panthers last year?
I had him in fantasy football, and I can't recall his name for the life of me.
DJ Moore was one of
them. Samuel. They had Samuel.
Curtis Samuel?
Yeah. Who was the other receiver?
Were they game breakers?
They weren't game breakers, man. That's my point. That's my point. I can't remember his name, so obviously he wasn't that good. But that's
exactly my point. Exactly my point.
Neither here nor there. Look, my point is that they're getting Darnold.
What you expecting to do? What you expecting to do?
Darnold's an upgrade from Teddy Bridgewater, and so do you.
You think? I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not ready to go there. I'm not ready to go there at all.
You know, see, here's the thing, and this is what they do all the time in the NFL. You know the ceiling for Teddy Bridgewater. We don't really know the ceiling for Sam Darnold.
Okay, because we don't know the ceiling. Because we don't know the ceiling.
We think it certainly can be higher than the ceiling for Teddy Bridgewater.
Because we don't know the ceiling, so you're saying you're projecting.
That's why Justin Herbert got so much run. Let's be honest, because they already knew the ceiling with Tyrod Taylor.
No, Herbert got so much run because he came in and broke records day one. As soon as he took the Jets, or he took the Chiefs to overtime.
He got better. There was no reason to go back to Tyrod Taylor because they already knew what they had.
Bro. I watched this with my two. I was in the building with my two eyes.
We know somebody is got a threshold. They're only going to get so good, and you have another talent that you're not sure where they're going to go. Go the other way, especially for a second, a fourth, and a sixth round.
Herbert against the Chiefs went to overtime against the defending champions, second game of the year.
I didn't mean to touch the Herbert nerve on you. I'm sorry.
I mean, you got to come with a different. You got to come with something else.
Did I get the nerve?
You got to come with something else. Because I watched that. I watched that all season. I was in the building to watch it all season long.
Let's bring it back.
Okay.
Back full circle.
No, but you want to say
Teddy Bridgewater
has a ceiling, is what you're saying. You say Teddy and Sam Darnold. I'm not going with Sam Darnold tomorrow.
I'm not sure what his ceiling is just yet.
You talking about? So why did you want Sam Darnold to run your team in Seattle? There's a reason you don't want Sam Darnold to run your team in Seattle. There's a reason for that.
We already have Russell Wilson that has not missed a start ever.
Well,
that's not an upgrade.
That's yet to be determined. How long you have Russell? That's yet to be determined. I know what he told. I know what I
heard in the voicemail exchange with Carlos. So yeah.
Okay.
It's fine.
Oh well, again, that's yet to be determined. However, Sam Darnold. I mean, what you talking about? He's an upgrade over what Teddy Bridgewater done. We've seen Teddy Bridgewater lead the Minnesota Vikings to a playoff record before he got hurt. We've seen him when he stepped in for Drew Brees kind of do a fine job. I'm going with Teddy. Sam Darnold has to win that competition. He's not. We don't anoint him on April 15th starter of my Carolina Panthers. That he has to win that job. And I'm not quite sure he can win that job over Teddy Bridgewater, But again, for what they pay for him, I mean, he gets a shot. I can say that he gets a shot, but I'm not sure. And so, talking about quarterbacks, which quarterback has the most promise in your eyes in this upcoming draft? Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. We talked about Justin Jones a little bit last week. Trey Lance. Who is Jacksonville, hands down, they're going with Trevor Lawrence. Any way somebody else gets drafted number one?
No.
Nope. So then the Jets at number two, all things point to Zach Wilson going number two. Are you comfortable with that? Do you go? Where are you going?
Have to be comfortable with that. They don't have any other options at quarterback, right? So they've already made their decision pretty clear where they're going with it. So yeah, right. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad pick. I mean, kid looks pretty good at pro day. So yeah.
Oh, you're one of those pro day guys, huh? You look at the pro
day
when
not at all.
When everything's perfect.
That's all anyone ever talks about. And the only person that I've ever seen have a bad pro day, ironically, is the guy we were just talking about. That's the only person I've ever seen have a bad pro day.
And how did that was that held against him? When Teddy Bridgewater, he didn't wear gloves and everything was a shit show that day. As far as I remember. But he got drafted and he had an opportunity. I mean, he played well in Minnesota till he got to the ugly knee injury, man.
The ugly knee injury. He was their future quarterback.
So he proves he can win in the league where another guy hasn't proved that he can win. I mean, the only thing your question is health. Well, to go back to our conversation there, Jones, we talked about both. We agree that he's going to be suspect in the league, right? I mean, they're talking about he ran a 4.4. I don't care about your 40 time. You're a quarterback. I don't care about your 40 time. That's not what I'm drafting you for. You can be athletic all you want. We know what that gets you in the league. We know the history of athletic quarterbacks, kind of what that gets you. I'm not impressed. And Trey Lance, I mean, another North Dakota State QB. I mean, do a lot in Division II. I mean, how has that translated thus far into the NFL?
Not very well. I mean, he's proven he's a warrior. He's a tough guy. Can play in cold weather. All kinds of adverse situations. That's all we really know about him. Does he really have the talent to translate at the next level?
I mean, we've seen that episode before, so that's why I would question that. So hands down, Trevor Lawrence is going to be the best out of the bunch.
Yes.
I kind of like Zach Wilson. I don't like him being drafted to our division because I mean that spells trouble. But I kind of like Zach Wilson. That's going to be interesting to see how things shake out. Who are your top free agents? Who are your top free agents in this draft or in this year left? I mean, Sherman, we talked a little bit about him. We got Antonio Brown still on the market. There's still Fisher, and we still got Mitchell Schwartz. Justin Houston. Who are you looking to sign right away?
Richard Sherman and KJ Wright.
Oh, now you want to be interested in KJ Wright.
You asked who were the top free agents out there, and I just answered your question. Richard Sherman and KJ Wright.
I mean, but why isn't KJ Wright already signed? Why is he still a free agent?
That's up to KJ. I'm not KJ's agent. I can't say why he has to sign the contract.
I mean, isn't some of that upon the team to kind of make that attractive for him? Why aren't you guys making it?
I think the team has made the offer as attractive as they can.
Yeah, right. Whatever. So no Antonio Brown. Your quarterback was looking for a big time receiver to join the squad. No Antonio Brown.
Sure was.
No Antonio Brown. Not interested.
I'm personally not interested. I hope they go in a different direction. If they do, I mean, it would be to appease, Russell Wilson, which is fine. Sometimes you have to do that for your franchise quarterback. Hopefully, not at the expense of team chemistry, which is what Antonio Brown would most likely destroy and ruin. So I personally hope he goes somewhere else.
Super Bowl winning receiver. He proved he knows how to do it.
Him and Tom are cool. I mean, that's already been established. Him and Tom are cool.
He proved he can get it done when
he's also proven that he's toxic. Ask Big Ben how he feels about it.
Okay, so we got two. What the hell? I'm sorry, fans. We got two big time veteran offensive linemen, Fisher and Schwartz. Why aren't you guys looking at him? Either one of them.
Fisher's been left tackle his whole career, and we have one of those. So I don't know if he's really going to be able to move. Schwartz, I don't know. I mean, behind the scenes, perhaps John is, slowly trying to work something out. You know how John does. So
yeah, I know how they do. Are they trying to convert another defensive into offensive
oh,
tackle or a
joke,
guard? Is that what they're trying to do? Just trying to do some more conversions.
No, we no longer have Tom Cable as the guru that thinks he can just put anyone at a certain size on the offensive line and be productive. No, that experiment is over with. So no, we're not doing that anymore.
Well, I'm not so sure about that because you guys are pretty confident out there at what you guys can. You guys have been pretty confident at what you guys can do, and that's been a move. Some coaches and some organizations like to be they like to make set trends and go about setting trends, and that seems to be one of the things that they've done. And they haven't only done it once; they've done it a couple of years where they're bringing in where they draft a defensive tackle, and no, we're going to make him an offensive lineman, or they draft a guard, and we're going to make him a defensive tackle. They draft a tight end, oh, we're going to make him an offensive line. It's like, come on, what do you guys doing?
Yeah, those days are over. Like I said, Cam, it was an experimental time, and we don't do that anymore.
Okay. Well, Clevon, those are NFL topics, man, for tonight. We don't have any picks to make, so we're going to take a break here before we get into our NBA topics. So let's look at the clock. Again, fans, we give you guys a lot of topics, a lot of content that we have every week for the Voice of the Fans podcast. So we're going to move on to our NBA topics, Clevon. Clevon, Durant is back. Durant is back for the Nets. Did you see his return? You see what he did?
Goodness. Well, thank goodness he's been gone an awfully long time, Cam. Sure, I'm glad he's back. Sure, I'm glad he decided to, kind of get back in shape and kind of see what he could do to try and make this championship run the Brooklyn Nets are on. Heard he had a pretty good game, pretty efficient. Good for him. I mean, he is, one of the top 5 players in all of, all the world. So glad to see he came back and did good.
You said top 5.
Oh, top 5 on anybody's list, Cam, for sure.
How about top 2? What are you talking about? Top 5.
Personally, I would not argue with top 2. I was just trying to be politically correct. I mean, just in case you feel like there's some other way about it. It's top 5 on anybody's list, but probably, top 3. Yeah.
I say top 2. Now here you go changing your numbers.
So there you go, splitting hairs.
Well, you said top 5, then you go top 3. No, top 2.
He's missed 25 games, and he missed all last year. So come on, man. We're not sure that he's not there yet.
Well, he missed some games. That doesn't make him. He missed some games due to an atrocious injury. That's not
okay. Well, in the last year he's missed 100 games. Last 2 years he's missed 100 games.
Well,
so just throw him right at number 2 is a little pretentious, don't you think?
Well, no,
guys named LeBron and Giannis and AD and Harden and Embiid. I mean, just to say he's top 2, I mean that's kind of high.
No, well, Clevon, when you make that statement of we know Embiid just came back from injury, we know LeBron is currently injured. That doesn't take their talents out of the top 10, out of being some of the best in the NBA.
It doesn't, but if they missed 100 games, if they missed 100 games in the last 2 years, I wouldn't just necessarily just throw them right back to number 2 like you did.
Oh, he's there. Now he's there if he's not playing.
That's why you don't know who, Cam. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness.
Your hoop knowledge is limited, and I understand that.
Oh boy. Okay, Clevon.
I understand that.
I mean that was a slick move you did right there. But again, once again, inaccurate. And you could just make a statement and be wrong. Now you're clearly familiar with that.
Okay, so then Cam, who was number 1 then?
Who's number 1?
Yeah.
The best player in the game right now today?
Yes.
Is it any question that's Kawhi Leonard? Is that any question?
So on your list, it goes Kawhi Leonard and then Kevin Durant.
Exactly.
We're on live. We're on live, homie. Say it out loud. Is that what you're saying?
No. In all honesty, I'd have to give LeBron the top.
Oh,
Health
okay.
considered. Health considered. Well, all things being equal, and everybody's healthy. I mean, come on, LeBron. He's already
So it's
proved
LeBron and KD. Okay. Well,
LeBron, KD. Yeah.
Can't necessarily argue with that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I would go. I mean, do you have a different way you want to go?
I think it's situational. I think for this season it would be Joel Embiid, LeBron. I don't think KD's in the conversation this year.
Joel Embiid. So we're gonna get to a Joel Embiid conversation here shortly. We're gonna get to that conversation shortly. So hold tight on that one.
Yeah, but to answer your first question, yeah, I saw KD. Yeah, pretty great. Good for him. Glad to see he was able to kind of shake out some of that ring rust, and hopefully he'll be ready for playoff time when it really counts.
Man, it's no question. I still have Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they might go undefeated in the playoffs.
Okay, good.
I don't see anybody stopping them for sure. I mean, just you get them guys healthy. Kyrie. I mean, as long as
Cam,
KD,
you have a little notebook that you write down these asinine comments that you make, right? So we can revisit them later.
I have the sticky notes. I already said. What do you want? What are you trying to concern?
To write down on the sticky note, and then we need also fans. We're going to get a sticky note board so you can see all of the things that we talk about during the show. But this one to add to the sticky note is,
but they might be
Brooklyn
undefeated.
Nets may go through the playoffs, the Eastern Conference, undefeated. That 100% will not happen.
Well, you don't have them going to the finals. May go through.
I don't. I had them losing the second round.
And you're bananas. You're talking about I don't know hooping. You got the Brooklyn Nets losing in the second round. Get this. Yes. Losing to who? They're gonna be the number one.
They're going to lose to the Miami Heat.
Oh my goodness gracious. Bam Adebayo. I like Bam. I like Bam. I like Jimmy.
You're gonna like him a lot more when he's guarding Kevin Durant.
Oladipo.
Yes.
You're putting your chips on Oladipo to stop who? Kyrie or James Harden? Which one? Who's Oladipo going to hit? Which one he's going to stop?
Oh, he can D up.
Exactly. Well, exactly. He can do who?
He can slow down. He can minimize the effect.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's not really stopping. He's not really stopping Kyrie or James Harden, but he can minimize the effect, though.
Okay, and you're
Jimmy's gonna get the other way.
And you're counting on Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero to slow down, also, and minimize the effect of James Harden and Kyrie Irving. That's what you're counting on.
Swishing from the outside.
Okay, so who's stopping Joe Harris?
Duncan. Whoever rotates out will be fine.
Duncan and Hero. Whoever rotates on the best shooter in the league will be fine. Clevon, come on, cut it out. I don't know who. I'm putting it down right now. Don't disturb me. Miami, Brooklyn, BK, and I'm not even putting May. I'm putting will go through Eastern Conference undefeated. I don't see these guys. I don't see who's beating them. Who can contend with them? Tell me a team who can contend with them. The Miami Heat, the Brooklyn, the Philadelphia Sixers may get a game, maybe. May get one game. Boston ain't beating them. The Milwaukee Bucks don't have a chance. Come on. You paid Drew all that money. I hate to say that paying Drew was a waste of money, but that doesn't move the needle. That doesn't move. Do you disagree?
To me, it had a Mike Conley feel to it, man. Like you're locking in someone that's going to play solid point guard for you. They're always going to get you 18 and 10. They're always going to be a team guy. They're always going to make the team better. They're always going to defer to someone else as a superstar, and they're going to be a glue guy. not going to take you to the next level.
I mean, I like him. I just don't see that as a game changer.
No.
So unfortunately, not gonna get it done. Again, I hate to say it's a waste of money, but unfortunately, they're not gonna get the return on that value that they anticipate. Unfortunately. You may or may not have seen the list, and I don't know if you agree with it. The top players under 25 in the NBA. Who would you had you seen that list, Clevon?
Saw the list, Cam. Have had some discussions about it. Took exception to a few things. Number one, I thought De'Aaron Fox was a little bit high at 6.
You thought De'Aaron Fox was high?
De'Aaron Fox was a little high at 6. I thought Donovan Mitchell at 4 and Tatum at 5 was a little high. And I thought D Book at 7 was way, way low.
Agreed. That's a little low. He should be higher.
I was okay with the Zion Luka at the top. That's cool.
You got Zion above Jokic?
Not really.
Exactly. So I mean, how do you go?
But I mean, I could kind of go with that a little bit. He's been hulking out a little bit lately. The second half of the season, he's kind of been imposing his will on Cat. So
what's their record?
I'm okay with that.
What's their record? Are they even in the playoffs?
Probably not. Oh, and LaMelo was a little high.
LaMelo, I don't know about that. They gave him number 3. They gave him number 3.
You gave him number 3. Wow. Is he better than Jason Tatum right now today? Is he better than Donovan Mitchell right now today? You can't say that with a straight face.
Right now today, are we looking?
And not really mean it.
Are we looking in the future? Are you projecting right now today, or are you looking in the future? Which one are you doing?
The list is right now today. It's present time. It's not what he's going to be in 10 years from now. It's right now.
So right now today, no. Yeah, right now today, no, it's not. He's not. He's not. No, to answer your question, no. Simply no. He's not in that list. He's not number 3 right now today.
Yeah.
But I like Tatum. I think Booker is better than Tatum right now today. Tatum kind of taking a small a drop off, right? This season anyway. I mean, I like teams that win. If you don't win, I mean this.
But who on this list is a winner? The only winner on this list is Doncic. Those other guys, I mean, I guess you can say Donovan Mitchell is somewhat of a winner, but they didn't win the first round of the playoffs last year. Devin Booker didn't make the playoffs last year. I mean, I guess, if we're doing it, we can't do the list that way because then Jason Tatum would be number 2. He's the one with the most playoff experience on that list.
Okay.
De'Aaron Fox has no playoff experience.
Right.
Zion has no playoff experience. LaMelo he's hurt. So, again, which makes the list ridiculous because he hasn't even played a full season. Why would you put him in number 3?
Where do you have Karl Anthony Towns and Ben Simmons?
I think Cat should be higher. When I first saw the list, I didn't know how old Cat was, but I was thinking that was a pretty big omission if he's 25 or younger. If he's 25 or younger, it's egregious he's not on that list.
Ben Simmons, what's your thoughts on Ben Simmons?
Starting to learn his role a little bit better, getting more comfortable with it. I don't know if he's in the top 10. Close.
Is Bam Adebayo in your top 10?
I think Bam should make it for his versatility.
Is he in your top 10?
Top 10 for sure. I'm not under 25? Yeah.
Yeah. Where's Brandon Ingram on your list?
Just missed it.
Just missed it. Do you like Brandon? Who should be the star in that team? Brandon Ingram or Zion?
Zion Williamson.
What? Just because he's a YouTube phenom?
No, because he's physically a better basketball player than Brandon Ingram. He imposes his will on the court.
Is he physically
against anyone who's playing against him?
He's physically more dominant. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're trying to say, or he's actually a better basketball player than Brandon Williams? What are you trying to say?
I'm saying both.
His physique is more. His physique is more dominant. Clarify for the fans.
Zion Williamson is physically a better basketball player than Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram is smooth,
that's a lot.
Fluid, 6'10", can shoot it from three. Does not impose his will on the game.
He has handles. He has handles. He can shoot inside at 3 levels.
He
can score. Huh?
So does Zion. Zion has handles.
He doesn't get. He can't score on 3 levels. He's not shooting threes on you.
He can shoot threes.
Well, come on. I think he shot 2 threes this season.
Okay. Well, I mean, I saw a game last year. He went 4 for 4 in a row. So he can do it.
A game. Is that what you're
doing? Every game.
You're right. It's exactly my point. So you're talking a game. He went 4 for 4.
Yeah, a game. He went 4 consecutive 3 points made.
I don't know about that, man. I think Brandon Ingram is.
Let's ask the question a different way, Cam.
I think that's
you have the number 1 pick in the draft, right? And you can draft either Zion or Brandon Ingram.
That's a different question. That's a different question.
It's the exact same question.
No, it's not.
It just points to the fact that you don't want to answer the question.
No, it doesn't.
Who would you take? Isn't that what you asked me?
No, that's not what I asked you. I said who was the better player, Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson.
So if you had a choice between the 2 players, why wouldn't you take the better player?
Who's more important to the squad?
Zion Williamson.
What? Why? Because he's big and he can dunk? That's what.
Yes, because he's big and he can dunk on anybody in the league.
Okay, I don't know that makes him a better player. Is the point I'm making?
It makes him a better player because it makes him more impactful in what it is that he's doing.
So Zion for a career is 39% from 3, opposed to Brandon Ingram's 36% from 3.
Oh wow! Thank you for double checking that for me.
Zion for his career is 62% is 61% from the floor versus BI's 46% from the floor.
15%?
Let me see.
Don't look too deep. you might want to stop looking all in the stat line.
Brandon Ingram is career 74% from the line. Zion is 64% or 69%. Not that far off. Career win shares. An estimate of the number of wins contributed by a player. BI is 13.8. Zion is 8.8. This season, Zion is.
Do you even know what that stat even really means?
I just told you an estimate of the number of wins contributed by a player.
Man.
Oh! Now you want to ignore that one. Ignore that one. That's your contribution to wins.
That is so speculative. Come on, man.
Okay, would you rather go PER? I mean,
I would rather go with the eye test. Man, these two kids. If you had one to pick, I am picking that dude that comes down the court and can't be stopped.
Okay, so them being on the same team, you're leaning to Zion gets the ball. Zion is your number 1 guy. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
I don't know. Well, that is yet to be determined. I like Bi and what he. I like Bi and his all around game versus
Zion
versus
just tucking on your face all the time. I know it.
versus is kind of limited, right?
Sometimes stepping out if he has to, but most of the time he doesn't step out because he just doesn't have to.
So when I send Zubac to the middle to throw that shit out the screen,
It won't happen.
or we seen Gobert.
No, it won't happen.
Well, by the way, he did dunk on
Zubac is
Gobert.
not enough, my friend.
I mean, so
You
that
saw
was
what he
just
did to Giannis, right?
I saw what he did to Gobert too. Who was the next person in
Okay.
line?
Yeah, so after you do that to Gobert and Giannis, that means there ain't nobody, man.
So let's make this list. So you go Luka number 1, right?
Luka's number 1.
Jokic number 2. I mean, can you argue that?
I wouldn't have a problem with Joker being 2, no.
Who would you rather put at 2?
Can't think of anybody.
Where is Zion on your list?
He's coming in number 3.
Zion is coming in at number 3. What about Mr. Phoenix Suns? Booker.
So okay. We're redoing the list with Joker actually on it because
he's 25.
Okay. I didn't know his age because when I saw the list, I didn't know how old Cat was. I didn't know how old Joker was.
Cat ain't
neither one of them were on the list, right?
Cat ain't better than Joker. So if it was 25 and under, 25 is 25 and under, right? He deserved to be on the list. Jokic, correct?
Again, if he was not on the list and he is 25, then yes, he deserved to be on the list. And on my list, he would probably be behind Doncic and ahead of Zion.
Okay, where is so we got Luka, Jokic. You want to put Zion at number 3?
I would put Zion at 3.
Is Zion better than Bam?
Yeah.
Where do you have Booker?
I would have him at number 4.
You have Booker at number 4. Jamal Murray, is he in the top 10? We'll just do top 10. Is Jamal Murray in the top 10?
If he's under 25, if he's 25 or younger, yeah.
Jamal Murray is 23. Where do you have Trae Young? Is he in the top 10?
No.
Where do you have Tatum? Is he in the top 10?
He's in the top 10.
Where do you have Ja Morant?
Oh, just missed it.
Just what? What? Ja Morant is not in your top 10? 25 and under? Oh, Clevon. That's why we're doing this list. Okay, so you got Zion. Clevon, you're kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
Just missed it.
So you have Tyler Hero on the list?
No.
You have Michael Porter Jr. on the list?
No, he missed it. He didn't just miss it, but he missed it.
You don't have De'Aaron Fox on your list? You talked about Fox earlier.
Yeah, he's on there. He's on the list.
Top 10. We got 1, 2, 4, 6. We got 7 players now. Tatum, where's Jaylen Brown? Is he not Jaylen Brown not on your list? Top 10? At what? At 24, Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics is not on your list.
He didn't make the list, no.
Oh, you're bananas, bro. You're bananas. You're being exposed, Cleveland. You're being exposed right now.
I put LaMelo on the list before I put Jaylen Brown on the list.
You're being exposed right now, Cleveland. So who's playing your defense? Who's getting your rebounds?
What do you mean? This isn't like an all-star team. This is like the top 10 players under 25. They don't got to play positions or nothing. They just got to be better than the other players under 25.
Is Simmons on your list?
He didn't make the last list, so I don't think he's going to make this list.
Ben Simmons does not make your list of top 10 players under 25. At 24 years old.
The way that we're going down the list, he might be 10.
Goodness gracious! Oh my goodness, man! See, you're being exposed, bro. I was trying not to embarrass you like this. So, you got Donovan Mitchell?
He's on there.
He's in the top 10. Okay, so now we just established top 10 players. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You tell me who's not on this list. Okay. You already told me, but so we got Luka number 1. We got Joker number 2. You say you want to put Bam at number 3. That's debatable.
No, or I said Zion at number 3.
Excuse me. You said Zion at number 3. That's debatable. We got Booker number 4. Do we go Booker, Tatum, Fox, Ball, Simmons, or Mitchell, or Bam? Who's at number 4? Bam, Booker, Tatum.
Booker's at D-Book's at 4.
So at 5. Is that Bam, Tatum, De'Aaron Fox, Ball, Brown?
That's Jason Tatum.
Tatum is 5?
Tatum is 5.
Do we have Simmons, Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Ball, Fox, Ja Morant? Who do you have at number 5? Bam?
No, we're
Fox.
at 6. We're at 6.
Do you have Bam, Fox, Ball, Brown, Simmons, Mitchell, or Morant?
We're at 6. Okay.
You're at 6?
And I will go with Bam at 6.
Bam is better than Fox, Brown, Ball, Simmons?
Yes.
I don't know if he's better than Simmons. Devontae Mitchell, Ja Morant?
So I would go Donovan Mitchell at 7.
So you got Ball at 6.
No, I have Bam at 6.
That's what I said. And then who's at 7?
Donovan Mitchell.
Okay. So
I believe that we said that we thought that Karl Anthony Towns was a glaring omission from the list, right?
Well, I don't know about glaring omission. He's 25.
Okay, well, I'll go with him at number 8.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll go with De'Aaron Fox at number 9.
Okay. That leaves Ball, Brown, Simmons, Morant not selected for that final spot. Yeah. I don't know if Cat makes his list. Brown.
Ben Simmons. I'll give Ben Simmons that 10 spot. I'll give Ben Simmons a 10. We close it out there.
You leave Ja Morant, Jaylen Brown, Jaylen Brown.
Trey didn't make it.
Ball didn't make it. You didn't have
Ball. Didn't make it.
You said he was top 10.
He went from 3 to out of the list. Once we kind of recalibrated and recalculated, yeah.
Cat's off the list. Cat's off my list. He doesn't make it. I gotta put Morant in there.
Ball doesn't make it simply for injury, his body of work. We're talking about 40 games.
Health. I got you. Yeah, so I got.
So he can't be on the list.
Huh?
I'm sorry. That's just not enough. That's just not an extensive enough body of work for me. He can't be on the list.
So I got to take Cat off the list, and I got to add Morant in Cat's position. In fact, I'll put Morant. Cat comes off. That goes to Morant at number 8. That moves Morant 8. Fox stays at 9, and Simmons stays at 10.
Okay.
So I just switch out Cat for Morant, I switch out Cat for Morant. Interesting.
Not completely opposed to that. I mean, I see where you're kind of going with that, and I've definitely let Cat lead me astray before, thinking that he was, prime time when he wasn't prime time. So I can't say there's,
Yeah, he's
he
been
doesn't
there.
have his flaws. Sometimes, that motor doesn't go as,
My point exactly. That's
as
what
it
I'm saying.
should. However, it is still Karl Anthony Towns, and he is still that guy. So.
Okay, so let's move on for that. We're gonna shoot this list out later, fans, and you guys can kind of judge, make your opinion on it. Let us know what you think on it. We'll tweet this out later. I'll tweet it out later. Clevon, will the Lakers stay out of the play-in tournament?
Not necessarily. Doesn't look good right now. I mean,
They got 20 games.
The big man that they picked up had ripped his toenail off. I mean, he can't play no games. I mean, it's bad luck. The other center that we got is pouting. It's bad luck.
But he's balling though. He's been balling since he's been pouting.
Since he pouted, I mean, yeah. Trez Harrell out there fighting. Can't keep his composure. We may have to play it in. I mean, it's the Western Conference. You never know what can happen out there.
So, are you confident? Are you as confident in your squad winning the 7th seed? Are you more confident in your squad winning the 7th seed or making the actual playoffs, playing in the playoff tournament, playing tournament, fully healthy? Let's just project. Let's project you're fully healthy, going into the playing tournament. Are you as confident as your team just powering through the play-in tournament, fully healthy?
Oh, sure, yeah, that's not a problem.
So not a concern. Okay. Did you happen to see last night? Well, it happened on Sunday. Actually, you try to gloss right over that. You didn't even want to talk about your Easter Sunday, where the Clippers smacked around the Los Angeles Lakers. Did you put they put the wool over the head, the bag over the head, and smacked them up? You just probably want to ignore that one, right? You need to pay
nothing to see there. Clear the area. I mean,
Oh, you was out to dinner.
No AD, no LeBron, no Andre Drummond. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Okay. Did you see there was happened to be a point guard number 4 in 13 minutes of play come out there and shine and do what he does? Did you see that? Number 4. Perhaps you heard of him. Rajon Rondo made his inauguration onto the Los Angeles Clippers. Did you see that?
They got Benedict Arnold over there. They got actually they have 2 versions. They have Benedict Rondo and Benedict Cousins. So they actually have 2 versions.
Well,
but, the one that you're referring to, Benedict Rondo, that's fine.
Benedict Rondo.
That's fine.
You miss him, don't you?
Of course. How are you not going to miss Rajon Rondo?
You miss him, don't you? Okay. Hunter, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I was very surprised to hear after that game, post game, you hear Paul George. Paul George is very honest, man. Sometimes he's too honest to a fault. Too honest for his own good. And I don't think he recognizes sometimes what he says and how that's comes across. I'm sure you didn't hear this, or sure you paid no attention to it. But he essentially just turned the keys over to Rajon Rondo. He's the leader of the team. This is his team. It's as much as it. Even before he suited up, it's as much as his team as it's our team. Like, he's a leader. We're gonna listen to him. There's no debate about that. Like, dude, can the dude play a game? Can he coach you up on something? Where does he come in just being signed and automatically you're turning the keys over to this dude? Where's your competitiveness? Where's your fervor? Where's your sense of ownership? Your sense of urgency? I like Paul. He's a good guy.
No, Cam. I'm sorry, Cam. Yeah. You're reading the tea leaves correctly. Yeah, somebody that just came into town 15 minutes ago on a team that was supposed to go to the championship and win the championship last year with 2 marquee players on it and several other players that have been there trying to build this foundation for years and years. None of them are leaders.
None of them are what?
None of them are leaders. If you're a leader or one of the leaders of a franchise, do you just let some dude just walk in and be like, and just anoint them the leader? They don't even have to really actually do anything.
There you go. That's even a better word. Just anoint him. He doesn't.
Yeah.
He hasn't been in the locker room a week, and all of a sudden he's a leader of the team. He gets the keys to the car.
Yeah.
He gets the keys to the car.
Leader. Right.
That
without debate or discussion. Yeah.
It shocked me. It was like
that's a team that didn't have a leader and is relieved that someone else will take on those responsibilities for them. Because they don't want to do it or be that.
And that's not a good look. I like Paul. I just when I heard him saying this over the Zoom conference, like Paul, what are you talking about, man? It's just you anointing the guy who hasn't played for you. And is that awareness? Is that just self-awareness? Hey, man, I didn't want to do it. I couldn't do it. Whatever it may be. Here, you take over. You here's the key. You take over to do this. Like that's how it felt to me. And I'm thinking, as a guy with some stature in the league, a guy who's been through some tough battles, a guy who's competing for the Eastern Conference Championship. How does this happen? How does this mentality just kind of? I don't know. How do you not have a winning mentality? And
what's even more unfortunate about it, Cam, is that it would have been easier to do that earlier in his career. I mean, now we're getting like 10 years in now, right? So it's like, why are you turning and looking to someone else for leadership?
Well, your sense of ownership should be there. Like you should be saying, "We got
by
this."
This point, you should be right. Exactly. Should have established yourself as one of the leaders, and certainly not one that's just going to just turn it over just to the guy that you just traded for like 15 minutes ago. It just
that was very surprising. Again, I've been calling for a point guard all season. I was looking for them to sign Rondo in the offseason. I've said for 2 seasons that they needed a point guard. They for exact same reasons. It's refreshing to hear that they all agree. Not saying they agree with me without saying it in so many words, but they agree that they need somebody to take the pressure off of Rondo. The pressure off Paul Pierce and Kawhi Leonard. I asked Ty Lue that specifically. What does a point guard bring to this team? And he says, well, he's a quarterback of the team. He needs somebody to get the ball in positions, and that would alleviate the pressure and get Paul George and Kawhi Leonard easy shots, which they haven't gotten up until now. So it was refreshing to kind of hear that. That's why they need a point guard. But at some point, I would expect. It just surprises me that they're so willing to relinquish the leadership of the team. That's
Cam, it doesn't surprise you. It disappoints you because you thought that they had more leadership within their organization before they traded for Rondo, and now it's exposing the fact that they never did. So,
no, poor leadership was the reason they lost in the finals. I wrote that. You can go back to my article and see what's good in sports. You can see one of the reasons for their colossal collapse was they had no leadership. The leadership wasn't there. Kawhi Leonard has to love this. Since Rondo has been signed, since Rondo played on Sunday, they had a game yesterday. We haven't heard from Kawhi. Kawhi doesn't have to come to the podium. Paul George had 36 last night, so it was Paul George. He was a big talk. Everybody wanted to talk to him because he lit up the. Who did they play? They played somebody. He lit them up for 36 last night. So everybody wanted to talk to him. Benedict Cousins came in and got you 7 quick points off the board. 7 quick points in 7 minutes. He came and did his thing. This team covers all bases now, Clevon. You got to be worried. You got to be worried as a foe. Somebody's rooting for somebody else in the Western Conference about this Clipper team because now they have a point guard. Now they have somebody to distribute the ball. They still have Kawhi Leonard, who still wants. He's still a good player. They still have Paul George, who's still a good player. We see he can get you buckets now. He told us yesterday he's able to now to focus on scoring. Okay, Paul, that's all. That's what you want to focus on. You should be getting 40 a night, buddy. 35, 40 a night. You should be doing that because that's so you don't have to run the team. You don't have to worry about leading the team. You've given those duties to somebody else. So I need 35 to 40 from you every night. That's what I need. That's your role now. They got Ibaka, who the best thing he's brought to the team here in the last couple of weeks is his dress code, his dress. I don't know if you notice that he's not following any dress code. He's violating any dress code policies that Mike Adam Silver has had on the league or David Stern has established it within the league. I don't know. He had a dress on Easter Sunday. He came fresh off of Santa Monica Beach with the beach hat and the beach clothes. He was fresh off the beach. I thought I saw him trailing sand into the bench the other day because he was literally fresh off the beach with some flip flops. Like, come on, Ibaka. I think it's load management that they're just kind of saving him for the playoffs. At least I'm hoping it's load management because if he's not playing, Boogie Cousins becomes an adequate replacement for him, and he's showing that he's healthy. So you got to keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on what the Clippers are doing. What do you think of? What's your thoughts on the Clippers?
A very formidable team, top 2, top 3 in the Western Conference at present. No reason to believe they can't get into the Western Conference playoffs and do some serious damage. I mean, let's see if they can really live up to their, expectations, or find out if their expectations have been unrealistic all this entire time. But I certainly think that, on paper, they're certainly capable of it. But unfortunately, they play in the Western Conference, and you don't win Western Conference titles on paper. So, no, I don't think they're going to the NBA Finals. But I think they're a very good team. And, I'm not quite sure how deep they'll get into the playoffs. Kind of depends on how the seeding goes. But,
well, they're going to be
good chances.
They're going to be top 2 or 3. They as if the season ended today, they'd be playing Portland, who they smacked around last night.
Portland doesn't really like them too much. So,
okay, well, Dame had 9 points last night, so they were able to.
When it comes to a series, it may be different. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying they suffocated them last night, and CJ went off for, I think he had 22. But that 22 points, if Dame ain't giving you 32, is mute. I don't like
it's a regular season game, Cam. Let's not get carried away. Okay.
So last night, well, they made a trade. The Portland Trailblazers made the trade. They got rid of Gary Trent Jr. for Norman Powell. What do you think of that trade? What do you think of that move?
I thought it was kind of suspect until I saw Norman Powell go off for 30. I was like, oh, okay. I guess they knew what they were talking about.
I mean,
I personally like Gary Trent Jr. I thought he was a pretty good player. I mean, he'd been injured for most of the season, so you couldn't really see what he was doing. I thought he balled out a little bit in the bubble last year. So
yeah,
I was a little bit upset about it. I mean, I don't want to say upset about it. I was a little bit surprised they made it, but then I guess I just hadn't seen Norman Powell play enough. But he can hoop.
Yeah, he was he's a champion. He won a ring with the Toronto Raptors, but I thought that was kind of a wash. I mean, Trent Jr. was a shooter. Norman Powell kind of does a little more than just shoot. So I kind of thought that trade was a wash. Anyway, last night he didn't register on the Richter scale against the Clippers, who again smacked him around a little bit last night. So that would be a 3-6 matchup. I'm not sure the Clippers need to be concerned about that one. I'm not sure about that. So that moves them on to whoever ready and wants some more into the next round of the playoffs. And whether it's the 4-5, who I think it would be.
No, it would be the number 2 after that. So it would be Phoenix.
Oh, so present. Phoenix is going to beat your Lakers at 7?
No. I didn't say where the Lakers were going to be. What I said is that the 2-3.
Are you saying the Lakers is dropping to 8?
No. Who said that? Who said all that?
I mean, where
the
they
Lakers
at?
are currently number 5, right?
Okay, that things happen fast in the NBA. You know that. Come on, things happen fast.
I mean, yeah, it's a little premature to kind of come up with these scenarios until we're about a week out. I mean, there's like 5 teams separated by like 2 games.
Yeah, they're number 5. We got Portland at number 6, Dallas at number 7. So the Dallas right now would be Dallas Phoenix. Who wins that one? Who wins that matchup? Let's just project ahead.
Dallas
beats Phoenix. Ooh, really? I don't know about that.
Depending on how healthy JJ Redick is, if he brings another scorer to the gunfight, I mean, I don't know.
I'd have to go with Phoenix in that one. Chris Paul Chris Paul takes that series to a he can win that series over Luka. You're right. JJ Redick is a contender. Is your boy going to be able to play? KP Kristaps Porzingis, is he going to give you big time basketball?
It's a huge question mark and a huge wild card. Without him, no, they won't win that series. With him, yeah.
But I mean, I think Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Booker. I mean, you just gave me Booker as your number 4 player under 25. I think Chris Paul wins that series.
And who was number 1 on that list?
Luka's alone though. He's alone. He's number 1. Look, I don't agree. Luka's alone is what I'm saying. You just said if JJ Redick steps up and performs, and he's not pouting that he's not in Brooklyn, and if KP performs, like Luka's alone, we know Chris Paul's going to. We know Booker's going to perform. We know Chris Paul's going to get DeAndre Ayton involved, so we know he's going to play. So we know that we got 3 guys on the Phoenix Suns who's going to produce, who's going to come out and perform. That's why I would say that in that series, Phoenix beats Dallas, and then that's a Clippers Suns. Oh boy, that would be good basketball. 7 games of that. We'll see that matchup tomorrow night, actually. But 7 games of that series will be some good basketball because Chris Paul didn't like the way he was ushered out of town, right? And we know there's
blamed,
he was
for their lack of playoff success.
Well, has Chris Paul had playoff success anywhere he went? So, some things kind of stick with you.
Well, excuse me, you're the one that's projecting all this playoff success coming now. And based on what I didn't know, I was hoping eventually you were going to get to that part where you were going to, shine the light on yourself. Like, oh yeah, not so much playoff success.
Again, against the Dallas Mavericks, I expected to win that one.
Okay.
Against the Dallas Mavericks.
On numerous occasions, you've expected a lot of the Clippers, and unfortunately, this hasn't always come to fruition.
I'm talking about Dallas Mavericks and Phoenix Suns.
And usually, Chris Paul was on quite a few of those teams, so I'm just saying. There's a commonality there.
I mean, that would be a good matchup because again, we have the Booker, Paul George kind of beef going on, and we know what happened in the bubble when Booker put it to those guys. That would be a good.
Your guy, Pretty Boy Paul, seems to rub people the wrong way, man. I don't know what it is about him.
Honest to a fault. That's what I had to say about that. So let's move on to that. I want to talk to you about MVP leaders right now. Who do you have as leading the MVP? We got Embiid, Harden, Giannis. Put CP3. I mean, he's 4 or 5 on that list. Who's your league MVP as of today?
Joel Embiid.
Okay, that's fair enough. I Harden can take a week off. If he takes more than 2 weeks off, he loses that success he's had thus far in the MVP leadership because he's been leading that bunch. And I can't argue Joel Embiid, but I'd give it to Harden. As of this very moment, I like what Harden's done for the Brooklyn Nets and keeping them afloat, actually keeping them alive in the playoffs and making them the danger that they've been. Because right now their lead They're three games off having the best record in the league, believe it or not. Believe it or not. And Harden's been a big part of that. So I'd have a hard time with taking Harden, not giving to Harden for what he's done. And everybody, without Kyrie, without KD, Harden's kind of made those guys contenders. Now the three of those guys make them actual champions. I've already established
right.
that.
And I hope they get that 1 seed, Cam. That's really where I want them to be.
Oh, they are right now. Again,
I hope they hold on to it. I hope they maintain it.
Oh, okay.
I don't even want the Sixers to get that. Leave Brooklyn in that one spot.
I mean, the Sixers. I don't know. Okay, whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure what you see in the Sixers.
You're not sure I'm going with that yet, are you?
I'm not sure what you see in the Sixers. Oh, you think they're going to choke? They're going to choke on their success. That's what you think they're going to do.
No. I'm trying to set up that 2-3 Sixers Milwaukee series and that 1-4 Brooklyn Miami series.
Miami's
in the second round. I'm projecting the second round of the Eastern Conference.
Okay. All right.
See where I'm going with that?
Miami. So listen, as it stands up today, right now, as it stands today, Milwaukee Bucks play the Heat in the 3-6 matchup. You going with the Heat over Milwaukee?
No, I'm sorry. And how many games out of the 4 spot are the Heat?
Out of the 4 spot, it's one game actually.
Okay.
There's a 3-game difference. The Knicks have 27. Yes, actually, the Knicks have.
So they only have the New York Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks in front of them, right?
No. The Heat have the Atlanta Hawks with 27 wins. The Charlotte Hornets, they just have one less loss. So again, that's one game, a half game out. Actually, they're a half game out from the 4 to where I was going with the 4 to the 9 or 6 it's a one game 9.5. The Heat are a half game out of the 4th spot.
So to make a long story short, Cam, I feel confident that he can get to 4. Okay.
You got Atlanta dropping. You got Atlanta dropping. You got Charlotte dropping.
Yeah, I feel confident he can get to 4.
So if you remember at the beginning of the season, I predicted the Atlanta Hawks making the playoffs.
You sure did.
I also predicted the Washington Wizards would make the playoffs.
That was fair at the time.
And they're 18-32. I don't know. But the Atlanta Hawks are I mean, they're gonna make the playoffs unless they have a significant drop off. They're in that 5 spot right now. So that'll be interesting to see how things shake out. But what I wanted to ask you about is Rookie of the Year. With Ball's injury and kind of how far did that drop him in that seeding? Edwards, he's playing, but he's just taking a bunch of shots. I mean, he's not really doing it efficiently, and he had the big dunk that everybody's riding high on. Or is it Halliburton out of Sacramento? Who wins your Rookie of the Year award?
Tough year for the Rookie of the Year. I mean, just given the way that you laid that out, I would have to roll with Halliburton. Unfortunately, I just don't think that LaMelo's had an extensive enough body of work. Like you said, Edwards is just kind of throwing it up. Wiseman hasn't really done anything. No other rookie has really made a significant impact other than the ones that aforementioned. So by default, I would have to say Halliburton.
Yeah, and that's surprising because his game
not that great.
Not impressive. 13, 3 and 5.
Not a lot to write home about. I mean, but given this rookie class, I mean, I think it would be unfair to give it to anybody else.
He's 41% from 3-point range. That's the best thing you could say about him. That's the best we had to say. But I think you're right. Like you say, and let Edwards makes a couple more dunks that go viral. I mean, he might cement it because that's what people are looking for. We had yesterday Isaiah Thomas suited up for the Pelicans. What's your thoughts on Isaiah? Can he help them out? What happens to Lonzo Ball? I mean, Lonzo Ball was supposed to be their point guard now. They have Isaiah Thomas. What do you think about his resurgence, and can he actually help the Pelicans and give them life as they head down the stretch of the season?
Happy to see him back on the court. Happy to see him back in the NBA. It's a little too late to help the Pelicans get into the playoffs per se. Hopefully, he does enough to have a pretty good audition and can try this again next year. But I don't really see the Pelicans making the playoffs, so I think it's more of just an extended audition. Hopefully, he does well. Glad to see he made it back.
They're 2 games out of that out of the 10th seed. Golden State is 10th right now with 14 games back. New Orleans is 16 games back. So they're 2 games out. I mean, it's not beyond the realm of possibility, but I think the NBA would try to finagle some things to happen to get your boy Zion into the playoffs.
They would do whatever they had to make that happen. Yeah, extending game. Yeah, I shouldn't say all that. I don't want.
I mean, it's true. NBA, but I mean, they created a bubble. They created this playoff.
Happy if he was there.
They created this play-in tournament so he can get in the playoffs in the bubble last season. I mean, so what are we talking about? We already know it's been proven that they're gonna kind of get funky. Just similar. I don't know if you're not gonna admit to this or you probably don't recall this, but back in 2004, I think it was that all of a sudden it was 5 games it was a 5-game first series of the playoffs, and then all of a sudden when those Sacramento Kings was showing some heart. And the Lakers are getting long on the tooth. They said, "Oh no! Let's make this playoff series the first series a 7-game series."
That was revenue. That had nothing to do with trying to protect the Golden Goose at the time. That was all about revenue. Yeah, okay. A couple more games. TV contracts coming up.
Let's milk it a little bit longer, huh?
Yeah.
So we see
loophole there. Yeah.
So we see the NBA will kind of bend the rules, stretch the rules, massage the rules a little bit to make things happen. Yeah. Okay.
Add a few extra games, get somebody a chance. We'll just maybe.
Okay. A little bit. NBA is pretty slick with that. So IT is back, so we'll see if he can help. But what's up with your boy Paul Pierce, man? Was he trying to get fired? Was Pete trying to get fired? You tell me.
He clearly was not concerned about his job security, blasting his whereabouts and his activities, Instagram Live. I mean, that's certainly not something that you're going to do, given what he was doing. If you have any consideration or care about your job, I mean, it's a very good chance you're not going to have one if you do that. So, yeah, I don't think he was that concerned about it.
That was kind of funny. I mean, he's doing his thing. He's doing what many people do. He's off the clock. You know, hard is really hard to beat him up because he was off the clock doing his thing. And what you might anticipate, a young, relatively young
NBA,
a young guy, NBA champion with millions of dollars. Yeah, with millions of dollars in his pocket. You might assume he's doing a little bit of playing poker with his buddies. You know, having some exotic dancers in the room. You might assume he's doing that up to the wee hours of the morning. You might assume a lot of this is going on. But when you IG Live it, or you Facebook Live it, or you use social media and kind of show the inner workings or the behind the scenes action, a la Antonio Brown in the Pittsburgh's locker room after a win. I mean, it's not looked upon too favorably. Your judgment gets questioned, and kind of like driving a car. Kind of like driving a car. When you're impaired, maybe you don't press sends. Maybe you don't hit the live button when you're a little impaired, as if you don't hit the startup button on the car. Maybe you don't do that. And hey, he did his thing. I mean, he's not hurt. He's not going to be in unemployment line anytime soon. Where we don't anticipate them being in unemployment line anytime soon. But yeah, Paul was getting it in. Paul was getting it in and had the whole internet ablaze over the Easter weekend. So at least he had a good weekend because it was what 8 p.m. the next day that he's talking about good morning, good morning world. So he got his money worth, right?
Yes, and the whole world knows. Yeah, that's the unfortunate part.
So Clevon, let's take a break here on this moment, man. When we come back, we still got some topics for you fans. We still got some good stuff to get into. We're going to talk about here in a minute. We're going to give you this week in history. As we always talk about, man, Clevon, one of the best part of the shows, and I think when we can talk about what's happened in the past and kind of give homage to some of the things that happened in the past that affect our lives to this day, regardless how long it's been. I think it's a good look. So we always talk about this week in history. We have that for you. And then we're going to talk about the NCAA championships. We're going to talk about the bracket. And we might even get into some baseball conversations. So fans, give us a second. We're going to come right back with you and give you more content. So this week in history, Clevon, April 4, 1968. I'm sure you can guess what happened. Um, Often it's odd how people look upon Martin Luther King nowadays as opposed to our guy getting assassinated um, April 4, 1968 in Memphis. It's odd kind of how people's perspective of him has changed, right? I'm sure you'd agree with that. Everybody Martin Luther King Day in January, people want to send out their quotes and how he made the world a better place. But back when he was fighting for the cause, people, including us, including Black America, really didn't want to hear what he had to say. So I find that rather odd. What's your thoughts on Dr. Martin Luther King, his assassination?
Yeah, definitely how the message and perception has changed over time. You know, basically has become something much larger than life, really. And I think that was not necessarily his intent initially. And a lot of the things that he was doing obviously were met with a lot of um, resentment, resistance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, it's fortunate that it has evolved the way that it has, but no, that was not the temperature or climate of the country when it happened. That's for sure.
April 6, 1909, Matthew Henson leads the expedition of six to reach the North Pole. So we had mountain climbers back in the early 1900s, Cleveland. We were climbing mountains, believe it or not. Mountain that we had to climb was in baseball. April 4, 1974, Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's home run record by hitting his 715th home run. And it was odd. It just a little quick story when digging this up that a couple websites that I typically use didn't have this for some reason. And then I just kind of went to a third website to just kind of dig it a little deeper, bring you some good content, and it was a separate website that had this. I wonder what the difference was. I'm not going to call it out, but there was a distinct difference between the websites that had some this day in history and this particular website that had this date in history, this is the very first thing that pulled up. I'm sure you can figure it out. Clevon, back in 1881, April 11th. Now we've all kind of enjoyed the fact that the Spelman College was founded back then, in some way or another. We've all kind of enjoyed that there was a collection of, of people gathered to get their further education at Spelman. But yeah, that happened, and many of us are grateful that school was founded. Spelman College was founded in 1881. Oh yeah. Man, did you watch the championship game?
I did watch a championship game.
Yeah, so like you've been exposed earlier, Clevon, Gonzaga was exposed on Monday night. Um, there was just a little too much inner city, shall I put it, on Baylor squad that really put the beat down on Gonzaga. Jumped on them early. It was a wire win. What do you have to say about Gonzaga and the Baylor winning that championship?
Gonzaga looked physically and emotionally spent. I
There
don't
was
think
some
that
of
they
that.
were. They
There was some
certainly
of
were
that.
not ready for the energy and the athleticism of Baylor. And it's funny because I was watching Around the Horn a few hours before the game came on, and before the game started, I had like no thoughts that Gonzaga wasn't going to win the national championship. It
Okay.
was a foregone conclusion, right? I
Okay.
really was not giving Baylor any credit whatsoever.
Okay.
And one of the hosts said, everyone's taking Gonzaga, but you guys might be kind of overlooking Baylor. And he says, you know what Mitchell's nickname is? His nickname is Off Night. Because whoever he's guarding is going to have an off night.
Oh wow.
And I was like, oh,
Wow.
that's kind of a fresh nickname. That's really your nickname. That's one of the more original nicknames I've heard of. Then I'm like, oh, that's really his nickname? Like, oh, he's probably taking this Jalen Suggs thing real personal and has something waiting for him. And sure enough, he did, man.
Yeah.
And those guys were never in the game. They never looked like they wanted to be in the game. So
I wouldn't go that far, but
I mean, they had
did.
moments, but I mean, obviously they, were trying to, accomplish history. So, obviously they wanted to be in it, but it just wasn't. This was not meant to be, and they did not look like the superior team in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah, they got to take it to him. They got to take it out behind the woodshed. Baylor was laying in wait. Oh, undefeated this, undefeated that. Are they going to be the greatest team ever? Baylor was laying in the weeds, man, waiting for their opportunity. You didn't hear a lot of conversation about from the players, from the coach. There was one line from the coach says, we're going to. He was confident. The coach said, "We're going to be ready to play." I mean, two teams. One team is undefeated, sure enough, but we've been number 2 all year. We've had, and he went and included the tournament stats, saying that if you include the tournament stats, our team was better. And obviously, the game against UCLA kind of took some of the stats down for Gonzaga. But he says if you include the tournament stats, our team has been better. We've been number 2 all year. The last win, we really put it on. We put it on them in the Final Four, showing that we wanted to get to the championship game and win. Versus the other team just kind of snuck through their conference finals there. So that was the one comment I did hear. It just gave me a lot of, or he showed a lot of confidence in what he was saying. That hey, we want to get here and not only win, but we or not only play, but we want to win that thing, and that's what they did. So kudos to those guys. Clevon, man, did you get into the women's tournament at all?
A little bit. I did see Arizona with the upset over UConn. Anytime UConn's not in the championship, it's pretty much considered an upset. So I didn't see too much of that game. I didn't see any of the championship game, unfortunately. But hats off to the Stanford Cardinal for getting back into the winner's circle. First time for Tara Vanderbilt in what 20 years? I said 20 years between championships. Quite a
Yeah.
while. So
Yeah. Good for her. We'll hear about that in various ways for the next year. But I thought the women's tournament. I watched a little bit of the. I watched the Final Four. Certainly, I watched a little bit of the championship games, and the competition was good there. I mean, women's basketball is not men dunking. It's a lot more execution. They rely on a lot more execution to win their games to get open looks. Um, I wanted to see what the girl from UConn would do, and that opened my eyes to what Arizona had. They had some competitors. They had some fighters on their squad who was
that's
competing.
true.
So kudos to them for even getting to the Final Four. And in watching the Arizona beat UConn at the end of the game, so you didn't watch the game, right? Arizona UConn. Did you watch the game?
I
Arizona.
saw the end of the game.
You saw the end of the game. So after the game, the girls are celebrating, and the coach of the Arizona Wildcats kind of brought her team to the center court, and we're saying that we're going to the championship, and we were able to beat these guys. And she gave the finger to essentially saying, "Fuck those guys who were ranked, thinking that nobody can beat them. Fuck all that. We can beat them," and they did, and kind of fired the girls up. But she clearly showed the finger. I saw it, and I was like, "Wow, did she just give the finger to?" And you can just the context of the situation. I could have, I clearly couldn't hear. I wasn't there clearly, but the context of the situation, you gotta imagine what she's saying to her team. Just kind of, hey, fuck the world. We did this. We can move on. Just like we said to them, the fuck Stanford. All this the you know the blue bloods, if you will, the powerhouse teams, if you will. We're a little team coming from nowhere, so fuck all that. We're going to go here and win. I can imagine the conversation went along the lines of that. Did you have a problem with her flipping the bird on national TV?
Not really, Cam. I mean, in those moments, I mean, in the heat of the moment, especially when you're that big of an underdog, I mean, no one is expecting you to win. It takes a lot of, intestinal fortitude and just belief in one another to do that. And, people don't always express themselves, as politically correctly as they should. You're not going to get too many chances to beat UConn. They've had 2 88-game winning streaks. 2.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not like you're just, gonna get your opportunities all that often. So when you take advantage of it, I mean, I think it's, I don't want to say well within your rights, but I mean, I'm not overly upset about it.
No, I think it was the context of the situation. Like, I don't know how many people can absorb the context of the situation and understand where she was coming from. Like, that truly is locker room talk. That truly is a motivational speaking. That truly is firing your squad up. Now, if you understand that, you should not have any problem with that. But if you don't understand that, you've never been in the locker room, you have never competed for anything, you don't understand kind of those where the player's mind goes, where the coach is trying to fire his team up, and those are the only people who would complain about that. Anybody complaining about that situation hasn't been in a competitive environment. That's what I would say about that. Hubert Davis becoming the first black head coach of North Carolina Tar Heels. It's kind of monumental moment, if you will, right? They're looking back. Roy Williams, I wasn't a fan of Roy Williams. I think he kind of gave up. Essentially, he didn't want to deal. He's one of these coaches. When you say old school coaches, that takes a certain connotation, and that's not the connotation I want to give him. But he's a coach from a certain era where you have all the control, and when you have all the control, whether it be at North Carolina, whether it be at Kansas, right? He came over from Kansas. Um, where you have all the control, you make all the decisions, and players don't have the control. Nowadays, there's that transfer portal where if the player doesn't like what's going on, they can transfer to other schools. He didn't particularly care for that. And so he's like, I'd rather not deal with this. So, and essentially, nobody will say he quit his job, but that he quit his job because he didn't want to deal with the challenges of not having total control. Um, and I've heard they groomed Davis to take over the role, and so kudos to Davis for being in that position. He actually has experience coaching college basketball. He made it to the NBA. He had some success in the NBA. Clearly, didn't win a championship, but he had some success competing against the best. So he knows what that journey is going from college to the NBA. Actually played at North Carolina. So, what do you think about that hiring?
I think it's a great hire. I think that you were kind of alluding to that it was a long time coming, but also, I mean, Dean Smith was there for almost 40 years, and then Roy Williams was there almost 20 years. So not a lot of opportunity to hire a black coach. So I'm not quite sure that really kind of played into it. Like you
Well, there
said,
hasn't been one either way. I mean, there hasn't been one
there
either
hasn't
way.
there hasn't been one, but like I'm
Yeah.
saying, I mean that I think a lot of that is due in part to Dean Smith coaching for so long and then Roy Williams coaching for so long. So
Fair enough.
But also at the same time, Hubert Davis is cut from that cloth. His uncle Walter Davis went there before him. So there is a lineage, a line there. So I think it's a good plug-in. I think he'll be successful.
Well, that's all we can do is hope that he'll be successful. When you be first to do something, we can hope he'll be successful. And I think he'll get because there is a lineage there. He's familiar with the program familiar with him. That there should be some outside assistance to help him be successful. So, not that I'm a North Carolina fan at all, but I'd like to see Hubert Davis be successful in that role. Clevon, have you seen the Space Jam Thriller, or did you get a copy? Did LeBron send you a copy of the film that he's been working on for the last 3 years? Did you get a copy? Were you able to review it before everyone else?
I did miss the screening. He did send it up for a few Laker fans, a few LeBron fans to take a look at it. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to make that one, so I'll have to catch the next one.
Okay. What are you? I'm sure you saw the. I'm sure you saw the previews, all right?
I think I have seen a few. It looks hilarious. It looks like it's going to be a good time. Family oriented. It should be great.
Okay. Why? Why do you think he kind of? Why do you think he can make his own film? Why do you think he couldn't kind of create his own version and not use the same? It's a different version. I'll give him that. It is a different version. It's not the same film. However, kind of create your own theme. Why couldn't that happen? Do you think?
I mean, who's to say that he couldn't have done that? But why not just do this? I mean, I think he was approached about it. I don't think it's something that he went out and said, "Hey, I'm just going to go out and make that."
It wasn't his idea now. Okay, all right, fair enough.
He was approached by it, and he said, "I'd be honored to, fill into that role."
He does have 17 production companies, so none of the production companies can come up with their own LeBron James movie involving hoops and animation. They have to go Space Jam 2.
Well, Cam, I'm not, privy to all of the, information with regards to, his movie making decisions.
Okay. I'm just asking a question, man. You don't have to get, sensitive with me. I don't mean to.
Well, you're acting like I'm supposed to know why LeBron decided to make Space Jam 2 and not make his own thing. I mean, I understand what you're insinuating. Everybody understands what you're insinuating.
I'm just asking a question.
No, Jordan Knights, they say things in weird little different ways. I understand what you're trying to say.
I'm just asking a question, man. I mean,
you got all these.
You got 17 different production companies.
Jordan Knights do. So
make your own
I understand
show.
where you were going with that.
Make your own show. That's all I'm saying. Make your own show.
Fine.
Okay.
He was asked and he accepted. So
in all honesty, it does look pretty interesting. I guess maybe I'll see it on. I'll stream it and watch it. Maybe I'll stream it and take a look at it once it come out. Once it's on Netflix. Clevon, you got 20 seconds you want to talk about? I'll give you 120 seconds you can talk about the Mariners, man. We got I got another couple of topics we want to talk about, but baseball season, we had opening day last week. Opening day still, or this week, I'm saying, excuse me, this week, the Dodgers we're going to get their championship here Friday, I believe it is. What the Mariners doing? What's their season look like? 120 seconds. I'm putting on fans. I'm getting my timer ready. I'm gonna put on 120 seconds, and I want Clevon to go ahead and talk about his beloved Mariners. And let me get my time. Let me get my timer going. Hold on. Don't start yet.
Get ready.
Don't start yet. All right, go. 120 seconds.
Right now, 3-3. I like the direction the team is going. The infield has, two returning Gold Glove Award winners in J.P. Crawford and Evan White. Seager's starting to come around a little bit. One problem I do have, they have too many outfielders. Right now, you got Mitch Haniger in right. Kyle Lewis, rookie of the year from last year, hasn't even played yet. Another guy, Taylor Trammell, came up, made the team, but their two best prospects play outfield. So eventually, Clinic and Rodriguez are going to have to come up. They have a few too many. Okay, see. You don't really know enough about baseball to really even understand what it is that I'm saying.
I mean, I'm trying to listen.
I know that you don't really understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. That's okay.
Your time is running out.
That's okay. At any rate, one of the things that has hurt us is that recently James Paxton did hurt his arm. He was scheduled to be. Let's see, that's just rude and insensitive. I'm in the middle of talking about a team that could quite possibly make the playoffs. It could quite possibly in 3 years be the Kansas City Royals.
Mariners in playoffs. All right, enough of that. I can't make it 2 minutes. We could cut this out. Mariners in playoffs. Come on. We had to cut you off right there. You're Mariners in playoffs. When's the last time the Mariners been in the playoffs? Has it been 30 years? Enough of that. Fans, in Major League Baseball, the All-Star team or All-Star game, Major League Baseball, pulled the All-Star game out of Atlanta due to the judges ruling on their voting practices. What's your thoughts on that, Clevon? They moved the game to Colorado.
I think it was a bold statement. Typically, the NBA is kind of the leader with regards to kind of being active with regards to social issues. It's typically not baseball's thing. So was kind of surprised that they took this stance to do that.
Very surprising.
I'm not quite sure who was pressuring them to do so or why they felt compelled to kind of be at the forefront of it. But I'm pleasantly surprised and, proud of them for doing it.
Yeah, very surprising that they actually took the stand, took any stand actually, and they actually moved it to Colorado. So that's interesting that they did that, and there was a whole movement behind or movement in Atlanta now or in Georgia that they understand and kind of perked up some ears as to why they would move this event out of the city. This is about a week-long event actually goes on. They have that leads up to the All-Star game is typically on the Tuesday, but then as you know, they have the home run contest. Then they have before that they have the All-Star the old timers games, and so it's the whole city gets involved, and all of the vendors come to the town, and all the local businesses get a chance to get a bump in their economy. So taking a All-Star game out of their town kind of does impact the city as a whole. So I can kind of understand both sides of the story. For the businesses perspective, I'm talking about, but as the state from making these laws that to kind of impact voting and kind of make it difficult for minority voters. I understand it was a monumental move by the Dodgers, by the Major League Baseball, and we've seen what the impact that pro sports can have. Like when the NFL pulled their Super Bowl out of Arizona, like Arizona quickly changed those laws to get the NFL back in tow, so they can put on some NFL games. Obviously, that's a good state for events because they have a lot of open space. They have a lot of hotels, typically good weather year round. So it was surprising, as you state, that the Major League Baseball to make this move, but kudos to them for actually making the change. Fans, again, I want to thank you guys for sticking with us, man. We got a long show. We got a lot of content in this, and tonight we want to thank you for participating. However you're listening to your show, man, tell a friend to tell a friend about this podcast, Voice of the Fans podcast. It's your man Cam. You can hit me up on Twitter at What's Good in Sport, or my Instagram is Voice of Fans. I'd like to know your feedback. Actually, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and if you're not watching this on Voice of the Fans, the YouTube page, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube page. We got a lot of different content for you. We'll have some Major League Baseball content coming up this year. We'll have some. We have a ton of NBA content, interviews, pregame, postgame interviews with all the players that you, notable players that you'd like to hear from. And then NFL season coming around, I cover the NFL as well. So we have a lot of different content for you guys to enjoy on Voice of the Fans on the YouTube page. So if you're not watching this on the Voice of the Fans YouTube page, check out the Voice of the Fans YouTube page for more content from the professional world of sports. Thank you guys if you're already subscribed. We appreciate you guys. However you listen to us, if you're listening to us on a podcast, check us out on YouTube. You can see Clevon and I live in person, doing our show. However you may be listening to us, we appreciate you listening to us. Clevon, give them your social media handle.
Absolutely, at Clevy Wonder on Twitter and Clevon Steele on Instagram.
Once again, this is your man Cam. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna leave you guys with this quote here. A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives. This from the late great Jackie Robinson, former Dodger. A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives. So it impacts somebody else's life. We just exposed Clevon tonight, not knowing much about NBA. Exposed his top 25 and under list, and we're going to send that out on Twitter.
Wait till we get those Post-it notes up on the whiteboard, and you'll be able to see as I click down, just constantly making more.
Yeah. Exposed. There's one word tonight. Keyword of tonight is exposed, and Clevon was exposed tonight. But again, fans, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. However you're listening to us, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching the show. And we'll leave you with this. As always, fans, I want to thank you for making our voice your choice. Have a good one, Chief.
Take it easy, bro.